some European countries as well as Canada warning their citizens that if they travel to the U.S., they must follow all entry rules or risk being detained.
Trump returned to office. Some travellers are steering clear of the US, a loss predicted to cost billions.
Jerika, many businesses are bracing for what could be a sluggish summer. Visitors are even being told by their home countries to take their vacations and money elsewhere.
The United States, once the crown jewel of global tourism, is being quietly ghosted by the world. From Paris to Sydney, travelers are pressing pause on their American dreams. And it's not because they found a cheaper flight to Bali, it's deeper than that. Imagine skipping Times Square, choosing Lisbon over LA, or swapping Disney World for Denmark. That's exactly what's happening, and the reasons might surprise you.
Travelers have reported being detained at the U.S. border even though they had valid travel visas.
Controlling illegal immigration remains one of Trump's top priorities. Since beginning his second term, he's doubled down on border enforcement and mass deportations.
Inflation is hitting hard and fewer tourists are traveling to the famous destination.
Headlines about visa denials, airport detentions, and border confrontations are reshaping the story America tells the world, without saying a word. So what exactly is driving this global hesitation? And more importantly, can the U.S. fix its fading image before the silence becomes permanent?
Yeah, not a big surprise, because as America embarks on its America First foreign policy, a lot of non-Americans are feeling, well, kind of unwelcome.
In 2025, for the first time in decades, the United States isn't at the top of the list of must-visit vacation spots. The buzz around America's glitzy allure and hot girl summer getaways has faded, and what was once a dream destination is now a place travelers are starting to second-guess. But why are travelers skipping Times Square for Tokyo? Let's start with the numbers, because numbers don't lie, even if politicians occasionally do. In early 2025, the U.S. Travel Association, along with data from Tourism Economics, reported a sharp 17% decline in travel from Western Europe. Canadian visits fell even harder. Land border crossings dropped over 35%, while air travel to the U.S. decreased by double digits. Meanwhile, in Australia, Flight Centre reported that bookings to America dropped by 16% year over year. February alone saw a 40% nosedive in U.S. travel interest as Australians chose Japan and New Zealand instead. And it's not just Australia. According to The Guardian, airlines and tourism across North America are feeling the squeeze too, with Canada to U.S. travel down 32% as tariffs and shifting policies take their toll. Airlines are adjusting their flight paths in real time. Air Canada, for instance, has cut capacity to several U.S. cities while ramping up its routes to Latin America and Europe. According to official data, Canadian residents' return trips to the U.S. by automobile dropped a staggering 35.2% year over year in April 2025 alone. And when airlines, the ultimate profit maximizers, start abandoning routes to the U.S., it's not just turbulence, it's a redirection. And when your neighbor, your ally, your biggest trading partner, Canada, starts canceling trips in droves, something's up. And it's not the airfares, but this shift isn't just leisure-related. Universities have started reporting a drop in foreign applications. Educational institutions that once attracted top global talent are watching potential students look elsewhere. The reason? Travel uncertainty, bureaucratic friction, and an increasingly unwelcoming entry process. Across the board, these aren't isolated incidents, they're part of a pattern. A shift in how the U.S. is seen, visited, and increasingly avoided. When flights disappear, so do the benefits. Hotel bookings, restaurant tables, taxi fares, retail sales. In places like Orlando, Honolulu, and NYC, the silence is starting to speak volumes. And if tourists are turning away, student visas are down, and allies are raising red flags, then maybe the world isn't just choosing different destinations. Maybe it's choosing different values. Now let's be real, it's not the cost that's scaring travelers off, it's the experience. Sure, the euro to dollar exchange isn't great and flights aren't getting cheaper, but those aren't the deal breakers. What's changed is how visitors feel the moment they step off the plane. Across Europe and Asia, people are talking about immigration processes that drag on, intense questioning at the border, and even racial profiling. According to passengers and media reports, even tourists with valid visas or ESTA clearance are being held for hours.
President Trump took office, there have been incidents of tourists being held by ICE for weeks. Now, European countries making it clear, even if you do have a visa, you are not guaranteed entry to the U.S.
Imagine spending years saving up for your dream holiday and then landing at JFK only to be pulled aside and interrogated about why you packed 2 pairs of shoes. Germany's foreign ministry was so concerned that they updated their travel guidance, warning that having a visa doesn't guarantee entry into the U.S. Meanwhile, NHK in Japan covered engineers and vacationers being detained for hours, just for asking routine questions at customs. That's a story you don't forget. So travelers aren't asking, how much does it cost? They're asking, how long will I be stuck? Will I be suspected? And then there's the phone stuff. Reports from Australia and Canada reveal that customs agents are asking visitors to unlock their devices and demonstrate apps, all under threat of deportation. It's the moment your 12-hour flight transforms into an episode of a crime drama. And unless you're a smartphone detective, that's not the kind of welcome anyone hopes for. When the question becomes, am I safe? Instead of what's the view, you've lost more than just bookings. You've lost trust. This isn't about 1 or 2 bad days. It's a trend, a shift from dreamy vacations to defensive travel, where visitors arrive bracing for inconvenience. And as the tide of traveler sentiment shifts, America's reputation as a carefree holiday heaven is taking a hit.
What's the perception over in Europe, like in England and the Netherlands, about travel to the U.S. right now? Do you feel like your friends and family feel comfortable traveling there?
No. Nobody I know back in England or here would go to the U.S. at the moment.
Reputation used to take years to build and just one viral tweet to destroy. In 2025, it's taking even less. Social platforms are full of posts from frustrated travelers recounting everything from aggressive customs interviews to phone searches at the border. Australians have been especially vocal. A widely shared news.com.au article described how multiple tourists were ordered to unlock their phones or be deported on the spot. That story caused a ripple across Instagram, TikTok, and travel forums worldwide. And this is where perception becomes power. One person's bad airport experience becomes everyone's cautionary tale. Suddenly, it's not that happened to someone, it's that could happen to me. This digital domino effect has consequences. Canadian snowbirds, for example, are choosing Lisbon over Florida. And no, it's not just about the sangria. It's the scrutiny. According to a Longwoods International survey, nearly 60% of Canadians said they were less likely to visit the U.S. due to political tensions and border treatment. At the same time, property purchases in Florida by Canadians are slowing, while investment in homes in Portugal, Mexico, and Spain is rising. What used to be bucket list trips are now being rerouted to places where visitors feel safe, seen, and welcomed. The online chatter isn't just noise, it's reshaping where the world wants to go next. And that shift isn't just echoing in vacation plans, it's rippling through boardrooms and business hubs too. Business and tourism are deeply intertwined. When one slows down, the other feels it, from conference halls to corner cafes. Tourism isn't just about families in Mickey Mouse ears, it's a multi-billion-dollar engine powering cities like New York, Los Angeles, and Miami. When visitors vanish, the ripple effect reaches every corner. Hotels dim the lights, restaurants reduce staff hours, bagel shops brace for fewer early morning customers, and traffic slows downtown. In April 2025, business travel to the U.S. plunged by 9%, according to the National Travel and Tourism Office, thanks to a toxic blend of tariffs, tightening border policies, and global unease. That wasn't just leisure tourist behavior, this was corporate teams shepherding deals, conferences, and research connections being stalled or rerouted. Imagine a tech convention in San Francisco or a biotech summit in Boston with half-full halls and fewer deal signings in the hallways. That's happening in real time. Worse yet, student exchanges and professional development trips are dropping too. One Canadian supplier told the Associated Press he's halved his U.S. visits due to border uncertainty and suspension of asylum seekers, yet another blow to cross-border collaboration. Airlines are trimming routes to stay profitable. U.S. carriers like American, Delta, and Southwest have pulled back flight schedules due to weakened leisure and corporate demand. Meanwhile, low-cost Qantas subsidiary Jetstar is pulling out of Hawaii entirely, citing policy backlash and diminished Australian bookings. When airlines, competition-driven and profit-obsessed, start cutting coveted routes like Sydney-Honolulu, you know it's more than a rough quarter. The fallout hits local economies hard. Hospitality groups report a 7% drop in U.S. bookings, according to Expedia and Bank of America. TSA data shows international passenger traffic declined, marking the first Yoi Kauai fall since the post-pandemic boom. Lower-tier hotels and small eateries are the first to feel the squeeze as last-minute cancellations surge and corporate blocks vanish. Add to that canceled conferences, fewer trade show attendances, and delayed investments hanging over midtown skylines. For cities built on travel spending, this isn't a stall, it's a slowdown. Now here's where things go from uncomfortable to politically awkward. Germany, Japan, Australia, Canada, France, these aren't geopolitical rivals. These are longtime allies, and yet, one after another, they've started waving yellow caution flags about traveling to the U.S. Let's start with Germany. In March, its foreign ministry officially updated travel guidance to note that even a valid visa or STA doesn't guarantee entry. That's because multiple German travelers, some holding green cards, were detained or even deported at U.S. airports, sparking concern back home. Next, Australia joined the chorus. After smaller travel advisories from Canada, Mexico, the UK, Spain, and South Korea, Australia also picked up on the message. Travel agents are reporting a noticeable pullback in U.S. bookings. Meanwhile, Forbes highlights that Canadians are swapping Disney World for Portugal and Mexico, with U.S. vacation packages taking a direct hit. Then there's France. Le Monde reported that French tourists are increasingly avoiding the U.S., with bookings down due to both cost and political unease. That's despite America's iconic image, Frank Sinatra, Route 66 Hollywood, all being quietly ghosted in favor of Greece and Quebec. Airlines have noticed. Air Canada has rerouted flights away from U.S. airports, reallocating seats to Europe and Latin America in response. But again, this isn't a one-off. It's part of a broader pattern. Imagine diplomatic memos hitting inboxes with "Avoid U.S. travel." That's a diplomatic earthquake, not just a travel advisory. These aren't isolated warnings, they reflect shifting sentiment among allies, and that shift matters. Travel isn't just sightseeing, it's a gesture of friendship. When even friends start skipping the invitation, the message is loud and clear. So what's driving this shift in global travel patterns? It's not one dramatic event, it's a slow build, an accumulation of policies, headlines, and experiences that's changed how people feel about coming to the United States. First, the U.S. rolled out tighter immigration rules, including possible expansion of travel bans to 36 more countries, expedited deportations, and increased ICE activity, resulting in surprise detentions of engineers, asylum seekers, and students. High-profile cases like a Turkish student at Tufts, activists, and even a Palestinian man at SFO grabbed global headlines and spread fear. Then there's enforcement inconsistency. One day you breeze through passport control, the next you're summoned, questioned, or caught in a phone check. Over the past year, the U.S. has expanded fast-track deportation rules, ramped up secondary screenings, and tightened visa scrutiny. Travelers from friendly nations, Germany, Japan, France, have found themselves facing long delays, unexpected questioning, and in some cases being sent home despite having valid documentation. Germany's foreign ministry even warned that a valid visa doesn't guarantee entry, all due to inconsistent treatment. Japan's national broadcaster, NHK, aired similar stories involving engineers and students held up at customs for hours. On top of that, trade tensions and diplomatic strain haven't helped. Canada, the EU, and other partners have been caught in tariff disputes and policy disagreements. When governments are publicly pushing back, travelers take note and sometimes take their business elsewhere. Beyond the paperwork and politics, there's also a change in perception. America used to feel like a sure thing, a place full of possibilities. But now, more and more travelers describe it as inconsistent and unpredictable. And when people start to feel unsure before they've even booked the flight, that feeling sticks, and it spreads. But America's charm isn't gone, it just needs a little polish. From the breathtaking geysers at Yellowstone, which drew a record-breaking 566,000 visits in May 2025 and supports a $600 $800 million tourism industry, to iconic cultural hubs like Coachella and Silicon Valley, the appeal remains undeniable. U.S. universities, festivals, and tech landmarks still lead the world. People admire them, but admiration doesn't equal warmth. The traveler of 2025 wants more than a postcard. They want genuine respect at every step. Those values are priceless, and right now, America can still deliver both beauty and belonging. So the question is, can the U.S. still be the place people dream about visiting? Absolutely. But it won't be through tourism ads with sweeping drone shots, tourism slogans, or flashy marketing reels. You can't advertise your way out of a trust problem. The fix has to be real, and it starts at the border. First, policies need to be clearer and more consistent. Right now, travelers don't just worry about paperwork, they worry about being treated with suspicion, or worse, disrespect. That experience lingers longer than any hotel stay. Cultural sensitivity training for border officials already exists, but experts and advocacy groups argue it needs to go deeper, less procedural, more human. Real welcome means understanding the perspective of someone arriving in a new country, often nervous and hopeful. Working more closely with foreign consulates could also help bridge miscommunications and ease visa processing delays. But above all, rebuilding the U.S. image begins with empathy, because tourism is more than movement, it's connection. It's how countries show who they are before a single word is spoken. Every passport carries a story, and right now, too many of those stories are ending with anxiety instead of arrival. It's time that changed. So, is the U.S. still the dream destination it once was? Maybe, but dreams need trust, and in 2025, that trust is fraying. The good news, it can be rebuilt. With empathy, with policy, and with a lot less phone checking at the airport. If you found this video insightful, drop a comment, like, and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks for watching.